Hello, beautiful souls. Erika here. Today I have a big question that I get a lot and is why is so difficult to obtain what I want? Why it feels so difficult to get the life that I want? For those that don't know me, I'm Erika Ristovski. I am a psychic medium, founder of Quantum Transformations, and I've always been a medium. I've always been overly sensitive, and I support people to overcome everything that they perceive as limiting and construct beautiful, joyous, purposeful lives, getting to know themselves and connecting to their intuition. So today we're going to dive in together into this topic that I get a lot, and is why does it feel so hard to get the life that I want, or why does it feel so hard to change and to be that person that deep, deep, deep inside I know that I'm here to be. So the big answer is our programming. Our programming really sets the tone for who we become in life and what we're capable of achieving or not. And our programming comes in various ways in my awareness. Mind you, everything that I share with you is based on my experience. It's not gospel. I always tell you, question everything. If something that I say sounds aligned, it's because of a soul recognition, but still, question everything. So, in my awareness, that programming happens in various ways. It happens through our upbringing, the family that I call of origin. Doesn't matter if you are adopted, it's the family or the people, your caregivers that are around you, that environment that shapes your mind shapes your patterns, the pattern absorption that you receive when you feel is so permeable, when you are small, when you are 0 to 7. You are absorbing your environment, you are absorbing everything around you, you're interpreting, you're decoding, you're kind of programming yourself in a way to survive, to go around in the world. So one of them is our environment, our family of origin. So we copy the patterns, patterns today, like my pattern word, most likely because most humans incarnated in this planet have that um, primordial imprint of everything is hard, life is hard, all of that. So most people operate from survival mode, and therefore we absorb that program, we make it our own, and we operate it our entire lives. Another way of being to say is program is through interference. In my awareness too, you can be interfered with by other multidimensional forces, negative ETs, through implantation and through other forms. Mechanical, more like AI implantation of your mind to override your own mind and create new thought forms that generate more distortions. That is another way of being programmed. Another way is not really a program, but it's kind of like a carryover when you come with a lot of baggage to resolve in this timeline. And it's through different timelines, it's through past lives that we call, is bringing kind of baggage that needs to be over, overcome. And you come with a lot of difficulties. Sometimes it's physical disability, sometimes it's speech impairment, sometimes it's even more rooted in your head thought forms and all of that that can also interfere with you. And then another way is also through entity involvement that comes in different ways as well. Could be that you come with that energetic parasite or that you have acquired it in your lifetime through also various ways, through witchcraft spells, curses, all of that is also real in my world. So how do we start separating from the programming? Well, the first thing doesn't matter where it comes from, because in my awareness it comes from many, many different sources. The most important is awareness. Once you're aware that you're carrying something with you that is limiting your being, and you know that you're capable of creating something different, of course we are. Of course we are. And we can reprogram ourselves once we start being responsible for our own avatar, for our own life, for our own living, way of living, and how we express ourselves and how we feel. Because one of the things that I see online a lot is like, Everybody has amazing lives, right? Like everything looks so wonderful, but like deep, deep down, it's not real. That is just an appearance. That is just a pretend facade that we fabricate to be perceived a certain way. But what matters the most energetically, especially for those of you like myself that can read energy fields, you know what's real and you know what's not. So when it's authentic, when it's real, you know it. So how do we become authentic and real? And how do we deprogram ourselves? Is through questioning. Questioning is the biggest rebellious act that we can. That's why I always say question everything, question everything, question everything. That's how we dismantle this matrix pretty much. When you operate with, like, for example, let's just make a simple example. You go through your day and you notice something that you're doing in your mind, like, okay, something that feels like an easy task, but somehow you're having difficulties achieving something and you're like, oh, this is difficult. This is so hard. I wonder when I started believing that. I wonder where that comes from. Am I being my mom? Am I being my dad? Am I being so and so? Like people that have been influential in your life, because many times we inherited patterns and we carry them on and we make them our own and we're not aware of it. But when you start noticing that something feels, kind of weird, like, why is it even there to begin with? When it started to be there? When was it implanted? Then you start kind of like disintegrating and moving the threads. Wasn't solid, wasn't formed, and start being more malleable, start being more open to possibilities to be stretched, to be challenged, and eventually to be transmuted into something else. So once you start really questioning everything that you're doing, everything that you're experiencing, for another example that I see a lot in my practice is people that attract certain relationships and the partners are pretty much different in appearance, but they have similarities in the ways that they operate and the ways that they behave and how the relationship kind of goes on. And it's like, why do I keep repeating that? Well, it's not a man or it's not a woman or it's not a whatever partner you choose. It's something in you that needs to be that part that needs to be overcome. Until you really work it through, you're gonna still be attracting people with the same similar pattern that makes you feel a certain way, that makes you feel negative, like it makes you feel like, why do I always bring this narcissistic man into my life? Why do I always attract these problematic people into my life? Like, why? Why? Like, if you really start asking yourself, I wonder where that started. And asking your body. And another exercise, and I teach, and I'm gonna do another video about it. It's like tuning into your body to really get responses, so that you develop that bridge, that connection from your mind to your heart. And there's studies that really tell us that the heart has an own field, and it's like a brain that receives information before your eyes, before your brain does, because it's in the field that all that is, the quantum field. Anyway, don't get me sidetracked. So I'm going to be doing that. But first, you really need to start questioning, where did I come from? And just like asking yourself, like, things start to make sense. Like, you're like, was my mother like that? Was my grandmother like that? Like, where did you inherit, copy, paste, brought in, took it on, pattern came from? And go really asking yourself throughout the day, why do I limit myself? And another powerful question is like, we don't always just trying to dismantle, we also trying to enhance aspects of us. And that is really important in my practice is, okay, how could I be more of me? How could I be more of the real self? Knowing that we are all different, that we all come here with different energetic and blueprints to develop certain gifts, to develop certain ways of being. And it's like through that discovery of asking, like, how could it be more of me? That entails, how could it be less of others? Programs, patterns, perceived limitations, actual limitations, whatever that is. And start operating from that. Another way is to set intentions, because many of us go through life just because we observe others going through life just like tumbleweeds, and I say it lovingly because I used to operate like that. When I was younger, I used to feel like I was just responding to the things around me and kind of pivoting according to whatever was happening around me, but I didn't have an actual plan. I didn't have an actual direction of like, I want my life to look this and that way, or this is possible for me or not. I was just kind of in that hustle energy and trying to survive and trying to make it, trying to earn some bucks for today so that I can pay my rent and whatever for tomorrow. And that was a trap. And we know that it's a trap that many people still operate from. But once you start being on the driver's seat of your life, not a tumbleweed anymore, that happens to having a sit down with yourself, really, and is sitting down, because many times, how do we notice that we haven't done the work is when we always finding distractions around us, Netflix, going out for drinks with friends constantly and all the time, so that it's nothing wrong with that. But if you do it again and again and again, and you don't have enough time to be with yourself, with your thoughts, in solitude, then you know that you haven't really done the work, because you're not comfortable with your own presence, because your own thoughts make you uncomfortable. And that's not something that we know logically. That's something that goes unconsciously. And we're like, oh, do I notice that I have this tendency to avoid being with myself, to avoid asking deeper questions, to avoid being in solitude? Well, take a really good look at that, because there's a great opportunity there for you to extract what is pending for you. What haven't you done? What area of your life you haven't looked at in depth, so that you can get the extracted use of it and see, okay, this can be transformed. This can be changed. So look for those opportunities. Sit down with yourself, and this is what I call taking inventory of your life. So you can journal. I love journaling. It's a really great practice. And in a piece of paper, you're gonna write down 15 things that are working for you, that you're pleased with, that you love in your life, the partners that you have, the house that you have, the whatever, the work, where are you at in your work? Are you raising your kids a way that feels loving and pleasing for you? Like all of those things. And then, of course, we always work with the polarity. On another sheet of paper, you're gonna write 15 other things that you're like, I don't know if I'm really happy with this aspect of my life. Like maybe there is room for improvement there. Like I don't feel, for example, most women that I work with, we have this inner conflict with our appearance, with our part of our body, or we hate ourselves in certain ways. And it's like, okay, that also applies there. And you really want to ask yourself, why? Because we are beautiful beings of light, and it doesn't matter what avatar we choose. There is a journey and an opportunity for you to love that avatar, to love that physical appearance of yours and embrace it. But if there is not that yet, then start really getting deeper into that and see why. Was it through the programming that most women are subject to, that if you're disconnected, if you don't love your body, that makes you more susceptible to buy all the products that you could possibly buy, and to always find that you need to fix sin and operations and whatnot to look a certain way to be accepted. So if you don't have self-acceptance with yourself, then you're going to be more susceptible to all these kinds of programs. So that's one, but there's many. How do you feel financially? Are you in a space that you're like, okay, I'm comfortable, I have achieved everything? Or you feel like, I feel that I have so much capacity, but I'm not earning enough, or something is disconnected, or maybe I don't have the relationship that I know in my heart, and I have that desire that is possible. So pay attention to all those things, because everything that you desire, everything that you dreamed of, is because it's possible for you. That was your assignment on a soul level. And that comes as a reminder, and a form of a desire to like, this is possible for you. This is possible for you. But we kind of put it in the back burner and we go through our life to like tumbleweeds, surviving, hustling, all the things. And we put our desires like maybe tomorrow, maybe when I'm skinnier, maybe when I'm like whatever, maybe when I earn blah, 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 maybe when I, and starts like to live, but not really live. Like you're not present. You're really just going through the motions and surviving and not being happy. And another thing, another distortion that I have found, including with myself, because it's always I have done this work with myself for 20 something years and clients, to know that that dissatisfaction with your own life is an illusion. We came here to be happy. We came here to fall in love with ourselves, to fall in love with life, and to realize and remember. This is a very, very important aspect. Remember how to manipulate energy and how to be co-creators of our life. We co-create with the universe. So there's other forces too out there and other laws that we kind of work with to get our desires. And desires are not bad if they're good, and high is good for all. It kind of sounds redundant, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like if it doesn't interfere with anybody's free will, if it doesn't destroy anybody's life, if it's like it's good for you and it's high, it's good for all, it's a desire that is possible, right? Because there's those universal laws that you cannot alter other people's free will, you cannot alter other people's life, and there's other many other laws, but we're not gonna go there today. It's very complex. So if it applies to all those laws, and then yes, it is possible for you. So how do you know it's possible for you? What if it keeps coming to you? If you're like, oh, and I want to do this, and you think about perhaps it's a creation, it's a business that wants to come through you. Perhaps it's a book that you've been thinking for years. Perhaps it's living a relationship that feels draining and you don't really feel like yourself, and is limiting your being in many ways, because what happens is that when we are in environments that don't support us, we're not ourselves, obviously, and we minimize ourselves, we contort our field, and we become completely distorted, disconnected, that it's harder for us to find ourselves. The more years that we spend in those environments, whatever they are, sometimes they're jobs, sometimes they're relationships, it makes it harder and harder for us to find our pieces, our fragments, and put ourselves back together and find that courage and that fire within to really discover. Because in this work of self-development, for me, is more about remembering and knowing on a soul level who we came here to be, what we are capable of, and the sky is not even the limit. There is like myriads of possibilities, and everything is possible. But everything starts with like, do we believe it or not? Do we actually believe that everything is possible or not? So if we already have the program that it's only possible for such and such people, or it's only possible if I had money, or it's only possible if blah blah blah, then there's also an opportunity for you to flip that, to overcome yourself and start operating from a new software. And of course, like everything in life, like getting the perfect body, tone, and fit, it requires consistency. We think that when I started my practice many years ago, I attracted a lot of people because I was also with that mindset that I needed fixing. Having a high sensitivity and high awareness to things make me vulnerable to so many energies, and not always the highest and best. And I always thought that there was something wrong with me that needed to be fixed, that needed to somebody outside of myself to give me all the tools, all the secrets, all the answers, all the solutions, and I will be great. And I will be, safe for life. But it was an illusion, of course. And at the beginning of my practice, I started attracting people like that. And we found as more we grow into ourselves, into our true selves, we discover that that's not true. And it's not judgment. It's like depending on where you are in your development on a soul level. It's like, okay, maybe at some point we perceive that, but that's not real. It's a perception. And as we grow more into how we're embodying our true self, we're like, oh, we're co-creating with others, but we don't need saving. We don't need fixing. We are perfect as we are. We are enhancing that original blueprint that we came with. and we all came to express different gifts, different attributes about ourselves, our lives. Sometimes it's to work through our minds, sometimes it's to work through our hands, whatever the contribution might be. But it's for you to really know what's possible for you. And that only happens once you get to know yourself on a deep level. So, how do you know yourself on a deep level? Question everything, because we are so malleable. Our energy field, most people, if you're not working constantly on your energy, like we wash our hair and we wash our house and our cars and all the things that we dearly care about, if we don't have that practice with our own energy fields constantly and every day, then most likely our energy field is very porous, and we are attracting and we are imprinting other people's stuff and other people's agendas and stuff. And it's like, it's a lot to unpack. But a good start is to question everything, have set your intentions, like so once you do your inventory of your 15 things that you appreciate in your life and 15 other things that you think might need a little, I don't know, work, or can be something else, or can be overcome, then you're like, okay, this is good, this is not so good, so how could I change that? Because only we can change that, right? We can also get support from somebody that has done it and knows how to guide us. And it could be a therapist, it could be a coach, it could be a healer, like whatever you feel inclined to. But I'm always so pro support of somebody that's really done that path and do the talk as well, because that's important. There's a lot of charlatans out there, and we know it. So once you have those two things, you start to see, okay, what is your capacity to bring some things to life, and what are the things you're not so, at the moment, let's say, for lack of a better term, good at? Why is that manifesting in the way that it's manifesting? Why you have created that reality so far? Because knowing that we can change it is not permanent. It's not going to be the case forever. So you start questioning and go through one by one. So when did it start? Who who made it real? When did I start believing this way? Because what happens when the things that feel that less than ideal on our list is that we feel disempowered, we feel minimized, we feel small, we don't feel worth it, we don't feel seen, all the things, we don't feel value, all of those things. And it's like, that's an illusion, right? Like, it just happened through many, many, many years of programming. But once you start to identify the things, and you're probably going to find a common theme on your list. That happens a lot. And it's like, okay, so, it's interesting. Always question. And how can you change it? Oh, so how could I be more myself? So when you become your real self, you can start to dismantle all of those things that feel like limitations in your life, and finding that inner courage to start taking action. This is important too, because we don't just live in la la land in our minds thinking everything is possible and la la la. It is possible if you take action. There is nothing manifest in this reality without actions. It doesn't only live in your mind, lives in your heart. It also has to be implemented. It also has to come to realization in order to change the reality. So it's an action like, okay, living a marriage, living something that doesn't feel aligned with your soul curriculum, with who you are, or maybe finally getting the courage to publish the book, or finally getting the courage to ask for a raise. Like, it is those actions, and you see for yourself what is it on your list that needs action. Also, always asking that inner compass. Like, I cannot emphasize on that enough, because I don't know another way of operating to connect with that divine compass that just was once and desires the highest and best for us. It's never going to lead you astray. It's always going to guide you for the highest and best. And sometimes you feel like, oh, but my intuition brought me to a situation that feels like really scary and less than ideal. And oh my gosh, and what am I going to do? Well, yes, many times our own guidance leads us to places that are going to stretch us, that's gonna create new identities with us so that we can build more, that we can hold more, and that we can be more. Because without those that feel like a catalyst, like a rock on the head, it's like, we're just gonna be operating the same. And being the same is not gonna bring us that bigger things that we're meant to in life. So in the human experience, still, we need sometime a little bit of like tough love in order for us to emerge stronger, wiser, having more awareness and discernment and making better choices in the future. So the catalysts, I don't perceive them as bad. I perceive them as portals or opportunities for us to become more of us and to discover more aspects of us. So if you start to see the difficulties, the suck, the problems as that, then your life starts to change because you start asking yourself, rather than feeling disempowered, you're like, I wonder what is possible or who I need to become to resolve this situation. Because that problem, let's say, that you have, in order to resolve it, in order to overcome it, needs a different version of you to overcome it. Because the person that created it's very difficult that the person that created, that identity that created, is going to be the same identity that is going to find a resolution and a harmonious solution in that matter. So many times that requires deconstructing of the current identity, questioning your beliefs, questioning your programs, questioning your patterns in order for you to reconstruct that inner self, that compass, and come within and be like more badass, more amplified, more ready to take risk, more ready to take action, and all of these things. So yeah. So today I just wanted to share that with you, some of the practices that I do with my clients, and many of the work that goes in is through questioning. Of course, a lot of the other percentage of the work is energetics. We do a lot of energetics and activations to kind of do like a spiritual surgery of the aspects of us that are imbalanced, that need a little bit more congruence with our true selves and all of that. But it starts with awareness, and it starts with questioning, and it starts with that kind of curious observer, not going through the motions, but really being present and in your life, in the writer's seat of your life, and changing the perspective about problems as well. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if it was. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.